Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for today, Monday, May 13th. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. There will be no recap since we have not had a video since Thursday, technically, since there was not one on Friday. Typically, I go over a recap of the picks from the day prior, but obviously, since we haven't had one since Thursday, we'll not be doing that today. But we'll go over to RotoWire. We'll talk about the weather report, any game that does have at least a double-digit chance of rain that we'll be watching as the day moves along. Then after that, we'll get moved over to FanDuel. Talk about my core picks. It's going to be one pitcher, 4 hitters. It's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as recent history. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for tonight's slate overall. That cheat sheet is 100% free, and it can be found on the Sports Affiliation website. So definitely be sure to check that out as you're building out your lineups for tonight's slate overall. But without further ado, we'll get started by going over to RotoWire and talking about the weather report for today. So we'll start off with the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies, game over in New York, and there's a 12% chance of rain there. Nothing too concerning at this point in time. Down in Atlanta, we have a 54% chance of rain between the Braves and the Cubs, so that is definitely one we'll be monitoring as the day moves along. And then for the other Chicago team who is actually playing in Chicago today, the Chicago White Sox against the Washington Nationals, 81% chance of rain there. So that is definitely one that we'll have a close eye on, especially as the day moves along. Probably a game that does not ultimately end up going off. We'll just have to see how that weather rolls throughout the day, though. But if there's one thing about the Chicago White Sox, they've always had a good ground crew, so if this game is playable, it will be played. And then everything the rest of the way is either 0% or in a dome. So those are the three that we'll be watching, most notably the Chicago White Sox game. Secondly, the Braves game. Don't really think we're going to have an issue with that New York Mets game just in general. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks for tonight's slate. So once again, it is going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponents, as well as recent history. So we're going to start off with the pitcher position. A lot of great options out there today since it is a large 12-game main slate for a Monday, which we don't typically see too often. But I like Brady Singer here, $9,300, reasonable price tag. Pitched pretty well so far to start the year, and he's averaging just under 34 fantasy points per game. He has pretty decent history versus the Seattle Mariners for the most part. The only guy that's really hit him well in the past is Jorge Polanco, and Polanco's not hitting very well to start off the year. Singer had 2 starts versus Seattle last season, and they were 18 and 44 points, so obviously we're hoping for the better end with the 44. Like I said, Singer's pitched pretty well to start the season. 3 wins, a 2.36 ERA, so definitely like the upside he can present overall. If you look at kind of what he's done on a game-by-game basis, the high-end upside is definitely there. The bottom-out upside, probably not the greatest overall. But at the end of the day, this Mariners offense hasn't been doing too much this year. So I'll take my chances with Brady Singer once again tonight. Obviously, with the 12-game main slate, mix and match a couple different pitchers, especially if you're playing more than one lineup. Then we move down to first base with Rhys Hoskins. He's $3,300, and he's currently averaging about 11 fantasy points per game. And if we look at Rhys Hoskins, the matchup today is versus Mitch Keller of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is 5 for 8 in his career versus Mitch Keller. And if we look at what Hoskins done as of late, 4 out of his last 5 games have had at least 1 hit. Only 1 multi-hit game during that time span, but he does have 3 home runs in his 4 most recent games. So looking for some of that upside once again tonight. Like I said, 5 for 8 versus Mitch Keller in his career. If you look at what he's done in total on the season, 227 average, 9 home runs, 27 RBIs. Definitely like the upside that he could present tonight overall. Then we're going to move down to third base with Manny Machado, $3,100, averaging about 9 fantasy points per game on the season. So he's going against Dakota Hudson tonight. He's 5 for 10 with 2 home runs versus Dakota Hudson in his career. And if you look at what Manny Machado's been doing as of late, the last 3 games have been offers, but before that, he had at least 1 hit in 8 out of 9 games. So really good until the last 3 games. Really good matchup tonight versus Dakota Hudson, so I think it's one that he can take advantage of once again tonight. And with that being said, $3,100, a lot of upside to be had there. Obviously, it's been a hit-or-miss season to start off for Manny Machado, coming off that elbow injury, but he's playing in the field now. Swing looking a little bit better, so I'll take that chance on the upside once again tonight. And I do really like this Padres team as a potential stack as well. And then in terms of our next hitter, we're going to move down to Edmundo Sosa, who is playing in place of Trey Turner. He's $2,700, averaging just under 9 fantasy points per game. You can also play him at second base and third base if you really want to. Going against the New York Mets tonight, it is against Sean Manaea. And in his career against Sean Manaea, he's 2 for 2 with 1 home run. So not a long list of history there, but some pretty good history at that. And if you look at what Sosa's done so far in the season, it's 286 average, 1 home run, 7 RBIs. And like we mentioned, right around 9 fantasy points per game. Obviously, some of those games that he's played this year have not been starts, and he has at least one hit in his last 6 starts that he has had. So doing pretty well since Trey Turner's been gone. Like the upside with him tonight. Had a couple double-digit fantasy point performances during that 6-game streak of starts where he has at least one hit. So definitely like his upside tonight. I really do like this Phillies team as well. So he is going to be a guy that we're chasing in a pretty good way. And then after him, we're going to go down to his teammate Nick Castellanos, a guy that started off extremely slow to the season. He's averaging under 8 fantasy points per game. He's at $2,900. He is on a modest 8-game hitting streak. 2 of those games have been multi-hit games. And if you look at what he's done in his career versus Sean Manaea, it is pretty good overall. He has 4 for 7 with 2 home runs versus Sean Manaea in his career. Like I said, it's been a really slow start to the season for Nick Castellanos. Only a 209 average, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, but really turned it on as of late. And we're going to bet on that upside once again tonight in a very favorable matchup for him just in general. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed, you got $13,700 remaining, just over $3,400 per player. So a pretty good amount of money left over. And you'll see with my cheat sheet today, the players that I do have in these core picks are going to be the same players that I do have from my favorite teams to stack overall. So this is a very good baseline. You know, if you want to mix and match just a little bit more from there, you can definitely do that as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to that cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for tonight's slate overall. So once again, the cheat sheet is 100% free. It's up on the Sports Affiliation website. And these are the top GPP teams that I do have to stack for tonight's slate overall. So we're going to start off with the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, Rhys Hoskins was in the core pick. William Contreras, Willy Adames, Christian Yelich, all these guys have some pretty good history versus Mitch Keller in the past. Mitch Keller is a guy that can come out and he can pitch really well, or he can kind of come up and blow up. It just kind of depends. On any given day, on any given start, you can look like 2 completely different pitchers. So we definitely like that potential with the Brewers tonight. And then after that, we got the Phillies. And already talked about 2 of their hitters, Nomar Sosa and Nick Castellanos. You know, if you want to mix and match some other Phillies in there as well, definitely makes some sense for Sean Manaea, who has not shown too much upside so far this season. He's been better than last year, but still, you know, not pitching too deep into games overall. And then last but not least, we have the San Diego Padres going against Dakota Hudson. I definitely do like stacking guys like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis together. If you want to throw in like a Xander Bogaerts, Ha-Seong Kim in there as well, definitely could do that as well. A lot of different ways that we could approach that Padres stack tonight overall. But with that being said, these are the 3 teams that I do have to stack. I think all 3 are going to be very good options tonight. Could be wrong. Obviously, anything can happen on any given slate, but those would be my 3 starting points in terms of the teams that I really want to stack for tonight's slate overall. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown in terms of the weather report, my core picks, and my top GPP stacks for tonight's main slate. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS whatsoever, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Do have a baseball game once again tonight, so anything about 4:30 Central Time after that point in time is going to be a little bit more difficult, but up until that point in time, I'll be answering any questions. I'll be posting all these starting lineups as they do come out and any other major updates that do come out along the way as well. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have MLB DFS in terms of the core picks, Monday through Friday. And then once a week, I do put out my UFL DFS video as well. Typically, that's been coming out on Fridays. I like to get it coming out on Thursdays, just kind of with the nature of the week. So if that's something you're into, definitely be sure to check that video out as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for Prize Picks, Parlay Play, and BetUS. If you are a brand new user on any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, you make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match on your initial deposit up to $2,500. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. And then with that being said, if you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS tonight.